All right. Hi, everybody. Wait,
Hello
my
there.
my name's wrong. I gotta fix that.
I've already fixed mine.
There we go. Okay, so hi everybody. Welcome to Sideout's first ZoomCast. We had some really good questions from you guys. I was actually very excited about that. So Sandy, do you want to just I think we shouldn't make it too long here, but we could tackle a couple questions that we
Okay.
had that were really good.
Okay.
So,
First question we received twice
okay.
was about Tiger King.
Oh,
Do I think Carol killed her husband? Well, if she didn't do it, she pushed him in the tiger cage and the tigers killed him. But if she didn't kill him, a tiger did.
So let me get this straight here. If she all of a sudden, like whatever it is in like episode 6, she's like, "Oh man, if you want a tiger to eat somebody, you just put sardine oil on them." Well, how do you know that, Carol? So a little bit of a mystery there, but yeah, 100% Carol was very involved in her husband's death.
Yeah,
No way she
definitely.
wasn't.
She was definitely a nefarious character.
Yeah, and the show is absolutely insane. It's full wildness.
I'm sad that I've watched it because I'm now jealous of someone who hasn't seen it yet because they get to experience that roller coaster ride of emotions. That is incredible. Okay, should we tackle the first question we received?
Sure.
I'm not gonna say any names. The one was at-home volleyball drills.
Yeah, so we're gonna do. I've been promising that I do this video for a couple days now, but I'm gonna make an at-home setting one, and I think Sandy, you're gonna try to tackle an at-home footwork one, right?
Yeah, I think I'll get out to the beach and I'll do a couple footwork things, kind of alone in the sand, that can be transferred, I think, to a lawn, a yard, a park,
A living room,
a driveway. Yeah, sure. I guess I live in an apartment, so I don't do a living room and stomp around. Basically, for respect for people who live below me, but that's
yeah.
what I'll
So
set them up for.
we'll try to get a few of those things set up and out there because those are really good just to keep the skills up. We talked to Everett from Volleyball Source today, and he actually made a comment that made a lot of sense. And he says there's a lot of really good volleyball players out there who are really good in system when things are normal. But what kind of separates some people from others is how much ball control they have when things get weird, right? Digging stuff with one arm or little pokies or
Alyssa Coulter said she's made a living by hitting balls out of system.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, that's indoors. So that was one. Next question we received was how to handset on the beach. I did not like this question because it was from one of our side-out veterans who does not believe she's a good setter when I believe she's just fine. But setting is a skill like anything else, just like jumping, like serving, like stopping, of all things on the beach. And you have to practice it. It's repetition, and it's doing it over and over again. And if you can't do that skill with a ball in game and anything, you can visualize it. If you can visualize yourself setting a ball, I think that's good for you. By a basketball done, and it was shooting free throws. And I think it's a guy shot 10 free throws a day. And another guy just visualized shooting 10 free throws a day. And when they came down to do the actual free throw, and it was 30 days later, 60 days later, whatever it was, when they actually shot, it was something crazy. Like the guy that actually shot 10 a day went 8 out of 10, and the guy that visualized went like 7 out of 10.
Yeah, no, there's lots of things. Visualization is huge. And that's something we can all be doing right now. We're on quarantine, right? Just take 20 minutes before you go to bed or in the morning when you get up and don't have to do anything, or in the middle of the day, whenever you're bored, just take 20 minutes, half an hour, and like play a game and try to think back of plays you've seen in real life where maybe they didn't go your way, or think about playing defense in the cross and chasing down a line over, digging it, get up. What do your feet look like? How did you get outside? How did you call for the ball? What shot you going to make? What is the defense doing on their side? Try to like visualize all those moments in a game and play a couple games in your head. And I challenge you to lose in that game that you play in your head and think about what went wrong and that stuff. And it's definitely a powerful thing that we can all use. And I don't do enough of it myself. I could do more for sure.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that a lot. That's great. And I think, remembering good and remembering bad or good are they both have their own merits.
Mm-hmm.
Try to recapture that good feeling you had of everything going right. Recapture that time that something didn't go right. Why did it not go right? Like you said.
Yeah.
What was it?
And to go back to the original question of setting on the beach, I think the biggest thing for people learning to set on the beach is, one, you just have to have the confidence that you're going to do it. And just anytime in practice or in games, just do it. You're not going to get better if you're not trying. And in BC and actually in Canada now, I'm super pumped that the rule is 16U and below. If you're square to where you want the ball to set, you can't double it. So there is absolutely no reason that all of our beach athletes should be practicing good footwork and trying to hand set every single ball, because it's going to make us better. And there's no punishment if you mess it up. So we should be all trying it, and that's how you get better. You just need the reps. Brian Hebert from our national team, we asked him one day, like, how many just like in practice setting, drills, or how many in practice setting reps have you had? And he was like, I don't know, like 400,000. Like, it's like the number they do is disgusting. I've watched Ben Saxon and Grant O'Gorman do 2.5 hours of setting.
Yep.
That's it. They showed up, they warmed up, they set balls for 2.5 hours.
And then went home. That was it.
And went home. So
it can be redundant sometimes, but how bad do you want to get better?
Yeah.
You want to have fun at practice? Yes, that's great. Or do you want to get way better and just set the ball? Next question.
Yep.
So next question we had, I guess we kind of tackled it in a bit of a roundabout way already, was, goal setting and staying focused during quarantine. And I even though we're in quarantine, not playing volleyball, I think I'll kind of compare this to having an injury. When I've had an injury and you couldn't play, what do you do? Well, I visualize things. I would try to do things that I could on my own. If that was just hand setting, when I was playing hockey, I'd separated my shoulder. All I could do was ride a bike. It was frustrating. It wasn't fun, but I rode a bike to keep my legs strong and get my cardio better. And so I did that. And so there's things you can do on your own. It's not always as fun as you like, but those things you got to do.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's an interesting way to kind of look at it. And I would think, do your best to keep a routine. So try not to lay in bed all day, and try to make sure you get up in the morning. I mean, weekends, if your weekend routine was to lie in bed, you can keep that going, but weekdays, like, still try to get up at a reasonable time, go to bed at a reasonable time, and then try to build a routine in. Is it get up, work out, have breakfast, maybe do some, now starting next week or a couple of weeks from now, do some homework, do some schoolwork, log on, check with your teachers. Maybe it's another workout after, maybe then it's some Netflix, maybe that's some visualization. So try to keep that routine going, and make sure, sounds like the hardest thing, like, don't pull a Sandy and eat a whole loaf of bread in one day, right? Try to do your best to eat healthy. It's
That's
challenging.
Healthy. There's no sugar in there.
So just, try to do your best to eat healthy and stay as active as you can inside the circumstances. So I don't know if a lot of you guys live in our houses, if you guys have stairs, like, hit those stairs hard, run up and down them, jump up the stairs. Do it till your parents tell you you're being too noisy. Like, that's kind of the main goal here.
Yeah. Get stronger right now if you can. Like, get stronger. When I was 20 years old, I was going to go play pro hockey, and I thought I'd worked hard enough at the gym with my buddy, and just 3 reps of 8, whatever things you did. And I was at my house afterwards, and I was in the garage, and another friend of mine came by that had been playing pro hockey, and he looked at me and goes, "What are you doing right now?" I said, "Oh, not much. I already went to the gym today." He goes, "No, what the hell are you doing? Like, you're not doing enough." "No, what do you mean? I went to the gym." He's like, "You need to do more. You need to work harder." And I didn't understand what that really meant until I went and played, pro for the first time, and saw how much harder other people worked, how much stronger they were than me. And, like, those guys are running sprints in the park. They're running with parachutes on their back. Like, they're doing jumps off logs, like, whatever it may be, they were doing way more. And if you think you've done enough that day, like, I guarantee you someone else out there is working harder than you.
Well, I don't know if I'm sure a lot of people on here follow Katerina Pantovic's Instagram, but she's got, like, she was doing deadlifts in her parking garage. She lives in Yaletown. She was in her underground parking garage doing, like, has the weights out, like, hitting the gym, right? She can't go to the gym. She's, like, made her own little gym in her parking stall, right? I've got my little gym set up here, but it's, it's not much, but it's what we can do to get by. So
there's things I told everyone, download the Peloton app. It's not just for cycling. There's yoga on there. There's stretching. There is strength classes. You just need small weights. They run you through them. You can do 20-minute workouts, 10 minutes, 5, 30, 45-minute workouts. There's so much stuff on there you can do. I know it's not so much mental or team goal setting, but these are individual goal setting. You just get stronger,
Yeah.
get yourself stronger. That's always a good thing. When I was 17 years old, I kind of first started working out when I was playing hockey, and like 3 months later, I shot a puck and that thing launched off my stick. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, it's working. It's working. I can shoot the puck harder. And that's what you can do. You can do it
Yeah.
on your own. Next question.
Yeah.
Okay. What makes you frustrated as a coach?
Ooh.
So I'll step with this one first. I
Okay.
gave it some good thought ahead of time. I don't know if frustrated, but I'll say challenged. I find I have a very good connection with people. I have good people skills. And when I can't connect with an athlete, I find that very challenging. And if I can't figure out what motivates them or how to motivate them or how to get to them, that can be tough on a coach. I had a hard time this year indoor with one of my athletes. I just could not, I felt like I couldn't make them happy, like no matter what I did. And I know they were happy, but I felt like I couldn't. I felt like I couldn't help. That was tough for me. Very, very tough for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only time it's frustrating for me is when either an athlete has identified something they want to work on, or coaches have identified something that we want that athlete to work on, and it can be frustrating, especially when the athlete brings it up and then they're like, why aren't I getting better? Why isn't this coming? And it's because you're not willing to be vulnerable enough to be bad for a little while you fix it. So you're always better with your bad habits than you will be trying to start new good habits right away. But you just need to stick it out for a little bit of time. So that's sometimes when it can be frustrating, when we're giving athletes, we like Sandy and I, like a lot of coaches I know, we give you guys the freedom to make tons of mistakes. Right. And as coaches, like I like to hope to think that I have the freedom to make some mistakes too, because I'm always trying new things. So we give the freedom to make mistakes. And then when the athletes don't embrace that freedom because they're worried about looking good versus getting better, that's the one that's frustrating for me, that I have a hard time dealing with, because my whole strive is get better all the time, not look cool.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. That's so true. Sometimes you got to take one step forward, one step back to take two steps forward.
Yep.
I probably with our athletes this summer, I remember hearing a guy talking on the radio about NHL players. He said good players will go off in the summertime and work on things they're already good at to get better at those, and great players will go off and work on things they're bad at, so their entire game gets way better. And I love that. I love that quote.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can go back to something to do over quarantine. Like we should be dissecting our games. Like, what thing in your game would you think is your biggest weakness? And that's what you should be focusing on, your visualization. That should be, if it's a strength component, that's the strength component you should be working on, because that's how we become better, by bringing up our worst skills, not necessarily by taking our good skills and making them a little bit better, because that's where most of your gains can be made, is bringing up that weak skill and making it a lot better.
Sure. So the next question, which is I'd say pretty similar, and I kind of answered with mine, was, do you approach coaching each athlete differently based on how you think they learn best? And so that it kind of has to be a yes, right? Because some athletes you can light a fire under, and some athletes you need to pat them on the back. So that's a skill as a coach right there, learning what each athlete needs.
Yeah, and I think anybody that's been coached by me before can think of the times when I'm explaining something and I kind of look out and I'm looking for eye contact, and I'm looking for heads nodding, or I'm looking for whatever, and I'm seeing a couple, kind of mystery faces, giving you the deer in the headlights, and I'm like, okay, I need to explain this a different way for these people. And I actually think that's one of the things that Sandy and I do complement each other really well at, is I'd say I'm more of an analytical, mathematical, structured brain to the game, and Sandy's more of a feel person. So I think that when I explain something, maybe ideally half the group gets it, and then Sandy can explain the same thing a slightly different way with more of like a feel side of it, and then hopefully the other half of the crew gets it. But yeah, you definitely have to try to change up how you coach different kids. And I think Sandy was bang on, especially with the motivation side of it, because certain people play well under different circumstances. So you just have to be prepared to make those kind of room for kids to grow in their best environment every chance you get.
Yep. That's part of getting a new batch of athletes, is learning
Mm-hmm.
what makes each one tick. So that's good. That's good. Another good one was what cues would you give to a team? It's 13-all, third set. This is it.
What a good question.
Timeout's called.
Oh, such a good question. So I think it really depends. It would depend for me on where we are in the situation. So if it's like, so I'm thinking back to like, late timeouts called, indoor national championships, and even in the final, and talking to the team. And I'm just talking about being in the moment, understanding how we got here, and embracing and loving the pressure. Pressure is a privilege. The fact that you're here, you've earned this moment, right? We grow up, we play sports in our driveway. No one's shooting hoops in their driveway being like, it's 0-0 in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's always buzzer beater. It's always bottom of the ninth, bases loaded. So you play sports for 13-13 in the third set. So I think my general comment there is we got here for a reason. So let's keep doing what we always do, and not really think necessarily the fact it's 13-13, but just appreciate the moment, and just go out there and be yourselves, and try to pull the pressure, try to pull the stress of the moment off, and embrace what will be a memory either way. Because that's what it's all about in sports, is thinking back to, like, how you got better, and these good memories you had, and being a good person.
Yeah, I'd like to say about that. I think in my time, I would say the 10 best matches I've played in my life, I've probably lost 8 of them. But
Yeah.
but I've lost 8, and those 8, I'm telling you, I've lost 21-19 in the third, 20-18, 16-14, whatever it may be. But I played my best, and so I unfortunately didn't win. So, but I played my best. I sat on the side of that court, happy with how I played. It just didn't go my way, and that's just kind of how it is. And so, to your point of what got you to 13-all, are you happy with the way you played getting to 13-all? Were you playing your game? Were you doing your best? Well, then keep doing your best, because unfortunately they're not all going to go your way. No one is undefeated in the history of sports. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're not going to win every one of those games at 13-all. Get to 50%. Then get to 75%. And then
I will say one thing. I'll probably end. I think I end almost every time out late in games like this with a couple things. Is number one, just think about your next job, whatever that is. Maybe it's serving, maybe it's passing, maybe it's setting. Whatever your next job is, just focus on executing that skill. Number two is safe as death. If you get a chance to end the rally, you end that rally.
Mm-hmm.
And if it goes if you go do the right things, and you get your feet there, and you jump as high as you can, and you hit the shot you want to hit, and it gets dug or it goes out or whatever, then whatever, you did everything right, and the outcome just wasn't there. But we don't want to have as a tentative, like, I hope I don't screw this up because it's 13-13, because that's the moments that haunt you in life. Those are the ones that haunt you.
Playing, hoping the other team's going to lose, you've already lost to good teams. Yeah. If you play hoping the other team's going to lose, you may beat bad teams. You will not beat good teams like that. Never, 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 never. Okay, move on. Next question.
That was a good question, though. That was a really good question.
Right, 3 good questions from one very intelligent individual. A couple of bread tutorial asks. Maybe I'll post a bread video side out from
You should. Absolutely, you should.
Okay. Another question. How is it such an honor to coach 2 very talented, kind, and amazing twins?
Oh my God. I love coaching Nicole and Megan. So Heebs and I, one summer, this is a true story. So Nicole and Megan were on their way to UCLA between high school, and they'd always bump set, hand set just a little bit on the beach. And before they were going, Stein Metzger was like, you guys have to hand set. So Brian Hebert worked with them a lot in the summer, and I was lucky enough to help out and work with them on hand setting, and played a bunch against them. And it was a lot of fun. but I know that's not the set of twins that this question was about, was
Oh, I
it?
thought you were answering that on behalf of the McInerney twins. Well,
Oh,
I'll say this. That was to our knowledge, the first set of twins that rolled through Saito. Well, the next set of twins that came through were Morgan and Olivia Brown, who
mm-hmm.
were played in the States this year. Well, until it was, I guess, abruptly ended.
Yeah.
In Carolinas. They
And
played
we should talk about, I don't know if Morgan and Olivia know the story, but the first time we ever saw the Brown twins, we were watching them and Sandy and I were both like, I think it was the tryouts. And we were like talking, we're like, those two, we called them unmolded balls of clay.
Mm-hmm.
And it had nothing to do with anything physical. It was just about the fact that the athleticism was so there. They just hadn't had any of the technical coaching yet.
No.
So
They need to be refined.
Yeah, and so they do really want to get better. They do sometimes struggle, and I've talked about it with them. They do sometimes struggle with the looking good versus getting better trade-off. So they've gotten a lot better at that as they've gotten older and more mature. And I hope this year down in university they really embrace that getting better versus looking good mentality. So hopefully but they are super hardworking and lovely people.
They work very hard. They're that set of people that realize at a younger age they need to go to the gym and get stronger. And they started and they got better and they realized they're getting stronger. They had those moments like I had, like, oh my God, I hit the ball harder, I jumped higher. So I love that. And to give them a compliment personally, they are two fantastic people, and their mom, Pam, is a world-class individual as well. I guess
Excellent.
I'd say pretty much like every parent we deal with at Saito, they have been absolutely fantastic.
We have great parents.
Yeah, very, very supportive. Thank you to the parents, because I can't speak for CMoore, but I'm continually blown away with the support that we're shown. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it.
We have another question here. Actually, I'll say who it's from. It's from our trainer, Fran.
Okay.
Fran, if you want to follow him on Instagram, it's Fantastic Fitness. His question was, honest opinion, was Fran's skyball a total fluke or simply unbridled athletic talent? If anyone follows our story, he launched up a pretty legit skyball in his first ever try at a practice one day.
So are we going to talk about the second ever attempt?
The second
or just the
one,
first?
The first one was fantastic. The first one was fantastic. The second one looked like it could have been on some sort of Instagram wipeout account. So yeah.
I'm gonna say for Fran, generational talent. I'm just throwing it out there. I think it's all generational. Like it's Connor McDavid, LeBron James, Fran, Serena Williams.
That's it.
Right? Like
I don't know why you want to do further.
That's our whole list right there.
Okay. And I'll say, I can't say this enough either. Thank you to Fran for being a part of our program. I know he loves doing it, but man, he is incredible. He fits in well. So another question now. This one came from one individual, but I'm sure it's coming from many, many out there. How do you keep the bathtub clean in the summertime?
I know who that question's from.
No, I got a good tip. This is from a buddy of ours who plays the beach named Joel. He buys those green scrub pads. Actually, CMoore, you talk for a second and I'll show the demo.
All right. So I do a terrible job at cleaning my bathtub in the summertime. And I do a horrible job. I literally do arguably the worst job. I probably clean my bathtub in June and then I clean it again in the middle of September. And the other person that lives in my house, she does not like that very much.
Okay. So here, our buddy Joel, just these green, you can't really see them, those green like dish like scrubber things.
Yeah.
4-pack. He's like, I leave this in the shower. Every time I shower, I just throw it on the floor. I put a little soap on it myself. I don't know if he did, and uses his foot and just foot rubs the bottom of the tub. Kind of each time he showers.
How did I not know that?
So it's just simple, quick. I'm imagining it's going to tack on 30 seconds to your shower, or no time at all. You can do it while you're rinsing off. A pretty good tip. I have done it. It does work. It's pretty simple. You can even do a quarter of the tub each time you shower. You don't do that much.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm doing that. That'll be happening.
It's a pretty good tip. I got to get it up. Okay, another question. How do you get over the sadness of the quarantine ruining volleyball? Well, I think it's the same thing we kind of tackled earlier about the goal setting. We kind of spoke to that. When you're injured, same thing. Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing while you're injured to get better? So
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? There are people who every year volleyball season ends abruptly with a knee injury or an ankle injury or shoulder injury. And I don't know. I don't know if it's worse or better, but I feel like it's probably worse because you don't know if you're going to come back 100% and your friends are still out there playing and you're sad and injured. So it's a good chance to regroup and refocus, and anybody that had any nagging injuries, get them to heal up and hit the ground
that's
running
that's a
ASAP.
big one. Yeah, nagging injuries, you're healing up now for sure. So a fun one. Someone said we should stream an old Van Open match and commentate it. We
That
could
would be fun. We could totally do that.
pick a fun match and then commentate over. That's not a bad idea.
We
Thanks
should
very
find the
much.
Galloway Caverly bronze medal game
Okay,
from
this
like
one was
2016.
yeah, that's a good one too, with the legendary Skyball.
Yeah.
So this is a little in jest, I believe, but how to underhand serve. Well, we definitely teach underhand serving. I mean, because at a young age you need to learn it, and the biggest thing you're learning is that transfer of body weight. Can't be all shoulder. You gotta do a lot. So yeah. So a couple of good questions came in late this evening. I don't believe you saw these yet, CMoore, but
No.
the state of your boys beach volleyball in BC. I don't know if that's just meant for us.
I think
or
youth, and maybe youth boys, it meant to say.
maybe youth. Yeah. So I answer that question as far as side out beach boys volleyball. We have more girls than we can handle to run a boys program. We get asked by many parents that have siblings that are they're boys that want to play, and we can't. We just can't. Every year we're looking to keep more players, and we can't. We cut many players in a season, which kind of breaks our heart that it has to happen that way. But we just can't take on any more players. We have also stated to anybody, if they want to run a boys program, we'd be happy to give them resources, help them out as much as we can. So if someone's out there and wants to run a set out beach boys program, whether it's at Kits or Spanish in the Valley, whatever, we will be happy to help you out. We'll give you drills. We will give you resources.
I don't mind guest coaching now and again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got no problem with any of that. I would love somebody to kind of spearhead the boys thing. We talked about it a little bit with Everett from Volleyball Source too, but part of the problem with the boys situation is there's unfortunately there's just no pipeline. There's no pathway, so it's hard for boys to play beach when it kind of dies at 18U, right? I mean, there is lots of adult tournaments you can play around town, and there is a national team program if you want to go do that, but it's a much more viable pathway for boys to play indoor, go to school, go play pro for a little while, right? Make some money. So it's hard because it's tough for a pathway.
If that's the end game, though.
If that's
right?
the end game, yeah.
Sometimes people just want to play, and they kind of enjoyed us. So like that's.
But Sandy, did you hear that there was supposed to be a vote, so they've postponed it, but there is a vote for men's volleyball coming to the NCAA, which would be awesome.
We have, like I said, we'll kind of end on this. We have if they could do a boys program through side out, we've of course said yes, and we would help them out, of course. If it happens, fantastic. But summer of 2020, it's not going to happen. We don't know when and if it'll happen, but we would be happy to help it out. So, so here's one. 2021 will be 10 years since CMoore won nationals with a boys team.
So in 2011,
I did not know about this.
15U BCO boys with Zia Karim and Connor McCuspy. We won Tier 2 nationals. And it was awesome. Yeah. It was a battle. We warred our way through and we won the final, and it was sweet. So they're always begging me. People are always begging me to come back to boys teams, and I probably will eventually.
That's pretty cool.
Just because coaching boys is a whole different level of entertainment. Coaching 15U, 16U boys is just like, oh, it's just amazing. Just so much unearned confidence in the gym. I just love it.
Boys, yeah, we were all there. Boys are such idiots, and I can only imagine what a disaster I was when I was that age. Oh,
Oh, I must
I
have
feel
been a
sorry for that
train
too.
wreck.
Oh gosh. Okay, so we only have 2 questions left here. Do you think overhand or jump serving is more effective on the beach? Now, should I say my same question I ask all the time? I will ask every player, every team I ever come by, and the question I'll ask them individually is, why do you jump serve? And so many times, especially girls, they're like, wow, like I'm 16 now and everyone jump serves, so I jump serve. Well, why? If you're only jumping a millimeter off the ground, it's not a jump serve. You're skipping. And now you're adding more moving parts to an already, I could say, complicated skill. And you control the game yourself. And if you're not jumping and aggressively trying to challenge the other team with your serve, then why are you jumping? It's kind of silly to me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So I think I wonder if this question is wondering about spin serving versus floating, or if it's wondering between standing or jumping.
It's from a youth athlete. So
yeah. So I mean, I would say that if you are able to, your goal should be to work on a jump float where you can contact the ball at a higher point to attack that serve to put the team in trouble. That is anytime the higher you can contact the ball on your serve, the more effective it is. So that's the bottom line. However, if you're going to jump float and like Sandy said, you're going to chuck muffins in or contact the ball right here, well then you might as well stand on the ground. And that doesn't mean we're saying you should standing float. What that means is a really good standing float is better than a not good jump float.
Yeah, or if you're not doing a great jump float and you're missing 6 of your 10 serves in a set, then why? Just because you think jumping has to happen, that's not a thing. And the question is specified to the beach. And one thing the beach has that nowhere else has is the wind. And we train at Kitts Beach where there's wind all the time. It's an ocean beach. It's coming off that water all the time. And sometimes lobbing up a rainbow of a serve and letting the wind do the work for you is unbelievably effective. It's effective at every age, every level.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. So on the beach, I would actually say the most effective servers on the beach have 3, 4, 5, 6 different types of serve. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So they have a jump float, they have a standing float, they have a big teardrop, they have a sky ball, they have a spin serve, right? They have all these different serves they can bring. And that's what makes them effective.
Absolutely. I agree. A short, a deep serve. There's so many. You're right. Having an arsenal, having more tools and toolbox, more skills. All right. Last question.
Okay.
I think another good one. So how different how do we teach hitting on the beach differently than hitting indoors?
Oh, can I launch into one of my pet peeves really quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course.
Okay. So I hear it all the time from coaches. Other coaches or athletes tell me their coaches told them when they say you playing beach is ruining your indoor approach. You playing beach is ruining your indoor game. So there's a couple things about that. Is one, yes, there is some differences, which we'll talk about in a second. 2, it doesn't mean that you can't go back and forth between the two skills. However, I think, this is my opinion, I think that when you go watch the best, especially in the women's game, you go watch the best, let's say, left sides in the world, they do the things in indoor really well, which we teach on the beach. And what I mean by that is anytime the set's in trouble, anytime they're in trouble, they're always getting their feet to the ball. They're always contacting the ball as high as they can on top of their shoulder. They're always doing all these things, which is what we want from beach. And it will make you a better indoor player. I don't understand why coaches say that. I just think it's not giving you guys enough. I don't think it's giving athletes enough credit of being able to go between the two. And I think it's a lack of understanding of the beach game in general. So
I think so too. I think you're right. People just don't understand that beach game. Well, you were talking to somebody this year. I feel like I was there with you, one of our athletes who's a very good beach player and one very good indoor player. And they said, "Oh, my coach is telling me that beach is ruining my indoor hitting or something, and you said something along the lines of, have you missed the ball completely? Were you swinging and it landing off your head? And you're
Yeah.
like, no, you're not driving that ball as far forward. You're still contacting the ball. You're still scoring. You're just not scoring like they want you to score.
Yeah.
And so it's not ruining your indoor approach, indoor hitting. It's just different than that coach envisions it should be for
Yeah.
you. So I think that's a little unfair because some players will naturally jump different than others. Anyway, so the biggest difference we teach, of course, on the beach is that you need to run. You get there and you jump more straight up and down rather than jumping forward at the ball. On the beach, the factors, of course, is the wind's going to move that ball, right? If there's wind, so you need to jump up and you can adjust your arm in the air. If you're jumping forward, you see people jumping past the ball all the time, but you need to be jumping straight up and down. That sand moves out from your feet, right? And so how much jump do you lose in the sand how it is? Like, you got 6 inches, right? When you plant, you're losing 6 inches of vertical. How many beach players go back to indoors after a summer playing beach? Like, oh my God, I feel like I was jumping so much higher. And maybe you were jumping higher, but you're also jumping off a stable surface now. And so that's part of it. I think a big one, people, it's weird things. People like, oh, that's a beach set or that's a beach swing. Well, why isn't it just a good swing? You look at beach players have this nice compact swing. They don't have this giant windmill. And then people are like, oh, that's a beach swing. Well, that looks like a nice compact swing to me. That should be a swing that's transferable indoors and beach. I think CMoore and I both probably coach arm swing the same way indoors and beach.
Yeah, I mean, I stick by a couple of really basic principles for everything I coach, and that's like simple and repeatable. So anytime you have extra movement in any one of your skills, I mean, it's going to be harder to repeat and make it harder for you to succeed. So when we're talking about indoor or beach hitting and we're trying to jump more straight up and down, it's because we want to contact the ball higher, and velocity isn't as important as contact point height wise is on the beach. But I would also argue that indoor, it's actually very similar too. As players are getting bigger and more athletic, that high contact point is very, very important. And I mean, I think everybody can think about a time some person's hitting really hard on you, but if they're hitting the ball this far over the tape, well, we can block the crap out of that. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. So I don't know. It's an interesting debate. And there's a few skills that Sandy and I have that we've taught on the beach for a long time that we don't teach indoor just because that's not the way it's done indoor, but we're starting to ask questions on why that's the case. And I don't know if it's actually rooted in science and rooted in trial and error. Or it's just rooted in, this is the way we do things.
I think a lot of grandfather clause, I've always played sports, and, I always feel like I had a bit of a coach's eye when I played. I always wondered why, like, why is it like that? Oh, just the way it is. But why? No one had a good answer. When I first showed up at the beach, I remember asking some of the old veterans, like, "Oh, do you guys backset in the beach?" Like, "Nah, you don't do that." "How come?" "But you just don't." And I was like, "Okay, well, if you guys are these phenomenal players that know it all, I'll just trust you guys." Well, I don't think you have to. You should ask why, right?
Yeah.
Why?
So yeah, I mean, I guess so. If we want to talk about the real quick basics, it's we're jumping more straight up and down. And one of the things we started teaching a lot more in the last couple of years was I like our last 2 steps to be closer together. So it's not like a left, right, left. It's like a left, right, left. Like they're like almost at the same time. And that, I think that actually helps with a little bit of less sand displacement and should help us with a little bit more of a cleaner takeoff and a more consistent jump. That's the way April Ross does it. And she's one of the best players in the world. That's the way Darby does it. And Darby is pretty darn good as well. So we're onto something there, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, that's all the questions we have. That's it.
Well, that was awesome. So we'll do this again. Maybe in a couple of days, Sandy and I'll record one, and we'll talk about what we're hoping to do for this summer.
Sure.
We'll break one of those down and then we can send that out. So this will get thrown up on our YouTube and our Insta. So thanks for listening. If you made it this far.
See you, buddy.
See ya.